you doing? Wednesday Bass Talk. Wednesday night Bass Talk. Hey, it's Freekbass. How are you? Hope you're having a great week so far. Thanks for joining me here tonight. I'm here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here at the Facebook page now. We're also over at the YouTube page too as well, which if you haven't been to the YouTube page yet, it's youtube.com/the Freekbass channel. So check that out too as well. So tonight we are here and we're going to be talking about a bunch of different techniques tonight. That's what we do here on the show. We talk about different bass techniques, break down songs, and I've been using, the last few weeks I've been using a lot of my material for just demonstrations. One thing, hopefully you dig the song, which is awesome. I hope you do. We'll have a link to this song at the bottom. This is a song called Blizzard Lizard. But mainly because of, with Facebook and YouTube and stuff, the copyright stuff always gets a little kind of crazy. So if I'm going to show a technique, which I can show you pretty well because I played on the tracks, then I thought it'd be a good, safe way to do it over here until we kind of get some other things worked out. But if you ever have a song you want to like, hey man, Freekbass, why don't you talk about this song or that song? It doesn't matter what it is. We can always cover it here too. Leave that in the comments. Make sure too, please, if you haven't done so yet, as you're watching this, please hit your share button, share it around everywhere other people can see it, and also hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube, and also the subscribe for live notifications here on Facebook too. And finally, make sure this Saturday night you join me for Saturday Night Chit Chat, also right here at the Facebook page, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Amazing show this week. We had Mr. Michael Manring on last week, amazing bass player. This week we're going to have an amazing drummer on this week, Robert Sput Seawright. Sput is a drummer. He toured with Snoop Dogg. He toured with Justin Timberlake. He's on Kendrick Lamar's album. He just became a member of Toto, which is like totally crazy. I want to be asking him about that. Dude's just like everywhere, and he's an amazing drummer. I've been lucky enough to play with him a couple times too as well. And so he's going to be on the show. He's also, one of the original members of Snarky Puppy too. So you name it, it seems like he's played with them. So check him out. That's Sput, Robert Sput Seawright, this Saturday night, right here at the Facebook page, Saturday Night Chit Chat, big interview with him. But for now, we're going to talk about this song, which is a song we have called Blizzard Lizard. And I liked it because I thought it was a good one. Let me stop it here real quick. I thought it'd be a good one to show because there's some thumping stuff in there and there's some finger stuff. So, over the last few weeks, we've kind of talked about a little bit of both. We talked about some percussive type, turn it up here a little bit. Talked about some percussive type finger techniques last week. So scroll down and look at that if you haven't seen it yet. And of course, we talked about some thumping stuff too as well. So this song has a little bit of both. It starts off kind of with almost like a little bass solo kind of thing at the beginning. I'll just do it isolated. It starts off kind of like this. We go into the verse melody, the verse bass line, which is, interesting bass line. That bass line actually is written by my keyboard player that plays with me, Mr. Sky White. He's like, hey man, I got this funky groove, but it's in 7/8. Can we do it in 7/8? So right off the bat, which is interesting, most, especially funk, most of it's in 4/4 time. And so this one is in 7/8, this bass line. And so on and so on. So we'll get into that in a minute, but let's talk about this thing I do at the beginning though. So you can see we're doing a lot of double thumb things happening there. So just that part of the line right there, there's a lot to explore. So we're just, thumping on, it's in D, the whole thing's in D minor. So I'm doing a pull off, a hammer on, and then coming back to the C on the G. So hammer from 5 to 7, and it goes again to those percussive things we've always talked about. I'm not just, but we got da da pa. Like we talked about that a lot last week. That hitting the note and putting like a little ghost note before the note, da da pa, as opposed to just going da da da. Instead of just going, I'm going. And this one, I'm doing the same thing on the 5 to 7 on the D string, but with that little impa. But when I come up, I'm coming up with an up thumb attack. So hammering down with a thumb, 5 to 7, G to A on the D string, and then I'm coming up with that. So far we just have. And I do the same thing. I just kind of walk it down, 3 to 5, F to G on the D string. But we're always da da ba, da da ba, ba da pa. And I talk about this a lot on here, and I preach about a lot about the relationship between the bass and the drums. I started off as a drummer, and so I'm always thinking like fills or drum beats. So when I create bass lines, so it's like a drum fill, but we're doing it with notes. And then when I come back, another hammer, plucking on the F back to the. And I always like to give it a little bit of wiggle on that note because it kind of creates almost like a vibrato with the singing kind of thing too as well. Our hands, with singers and horn players, they have, their breath and their embouchure and how hard they sing the note and how much air they put out. With us, we have to create all that from our hands. So like any kind of techniques, whether it be some percussive techniques, which we're talking about, or even like, I'm giving this little bit of a wiggle, not to where it sounds, but just a little bit, just gives a little bit of attitude with the almost like a vibrato kind of vibe to it. So what I'm doing here, we're obviously staying in D. I'm sliding all the way up to the high D up here. Like that same kind of thing, kind of a drum fill kind of feel to it. But adding that slide in again, makes it more like almost like a singing melody. It's not just playing just the notes, not just, I'm not just going there's those little kind of things you can do, anything you can do to give the more personality to whatever your bass line is. Again, I'm not trying to try to do this to sound like me. I'm saying take any kind of ideas, weird little things you might do on your bass neck, and sometimes that you might think that is maybe a mistake, or something that like, oh, that sounds a little kind of weird or out of the ordinary. Well, think about the way you talk. When you talk, a lot of times the inflection of your voice is what makes what you're saying compelling. And so it's kind of the same thing with music, especially when playing bass, especially when using your hands. We're doing little extra accents, whether it be ghost notes, slides, whatever, to kind of make your bass line a little bit more, give it some personality. So experiment around with that a lot. That'll make, I think, your solos or even your regular bass lines have a lot more personality. So what we got? So this so far. That little line right there, now we're in D minor, right? So, I don't know how much everybody knows about theory, but, if you're in the key of D, your third of your scale, your minor third, is F, right? But I'm going to the F sharp down here when I do the kind of walk up. It's a chromatic walk up. And even coming back, I'm hitting F to F sharp. A little bit of a meters kind of New Orleans kind of flavor to it. But with the F sharp down here, it gives more almost kind of a gospel. That's what it kind of reminds me of, these kind of walking, you know, like the gospel. Like that kind of thing. And that's kind of the vibe I was trying to go with a. And if you also notice, I'm doing a lot of upstroking on the thumb, like I'm doing upstroke. Like every other one, we're giving that in. And then the last one, let's see. It's weird doing it out of context. And then I'm just kind of doing a chromatic walk back up to the note. When we come back on the one, that's when we go into the bass line, the one I was telling you about that Sky came in with. And then we're immediately, for me, I'm immediately going into finger style for this. Now here's right off the bat to kind of piggyback off what we talked about last week. You know, if I played the bass line without any kind of like accent or feel, it would just be. But I'm doing this bouncing thing, so it's not just da 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 da. It's da ba 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 da. And that's accomplished with me bouncing up and down on the fingerboard between each note. It's hard to do it slow. And it's a kind of combination between that and coming here with my hand. Like that. And that gives everything a lot more of a feel. Like that, and that'll give you a lot more feel with all your notes. And so, you know, like if you were playing a bass line, like think of Skin Tight by Ohio Players. I'm not. It's really kind of bouncing and stabbing at that fingerboard like we talked about last week's episode here on Bass Talk. So you're always kind of like up and down on that neck. And then the last part, let me jump ahead, is there's the like kind of like the chorus of this song. It's mostly an instrumental. Riley, who sings with me, does this amazing vocal part on which is kind of like a chorus. But I'm just doing an ascending line, but really busy, but keeping it real focused on what the main note is. So that's the main rhythm I'm doing on that. I'm thumb, pluck, and I'm always doing It's again, it's that, you know I talk about it a lot. Bum 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 bum. It's supposed to go on bum 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 bum. It's bum 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 bum. And that extra little bump is coming from my thumb, coming back down on the note. And I'm just doing a walk up. It's just back, keeping that thumb constantly moving. A, B, C, see. It's almost like I'm going all with the notes while keeping that a constant motion in my hand, almost like if I was playing with the pick, but I could have my pick and my finger both as one thing. And then that's what you got there too. So there's a lot of different kind of techniques in this song. You know, if you're into it, you know, listen to the song, try playing along similar to the way I'm doing it, and then you will, you know, ultimately, I think, you know, it'll become your own thing. I mean, I think that's such a cool thing. You know, whoever you're borrowing from or learning from or picking up techniques from, I can't stress enough. You know, if I showed you exactly what I play, exact notes, every ghost note, everything, you're still going to sound like you, and I'm going to sound like me. So that's the beautiful part, and you're going to meld it into whoever you are as a musician and as a bass player, and create this own style into what you do. So experiment with things, experiment with weird sounds, and then you're going to get in all kinds of new places you've never been before. Sorry, I'm just going to pull this back up again. Hopefully I put my password in right. Yes, I did. And it's going to open you up with all kinds of new possibilities as a bass player. So that's it. So let me play us out like I always do. Thank you for being here. I'm here every Wednesday night. Please share this video in your feed. And let's hear it one more time with Blizzard Lizard. Be here Saturday night with Robert Sputt, C-Right, Snarky Puppy, Ghost Note. Now with Toto. He's going to be joining me here on Saturday night. But let's...
A mythic mutation.
Whoop, that's a wrong one. Let's go back to that. Maybe we'll do that one next week. All right. Thank you all. Let's do this. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with me this tonight. I'll see you Saturday night Chit Chat. Hit subscribe, share the video. Love you. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon. Have a great week.